We've actually broken records. 24-hour records have broken, but also we've had 48-hour records broken, including in Bendigo. Now, that was Bendigo yesterday, with the river levels rising rapidly in that area. So let's have a look at some of the 48-hour rain totals. Firstly, you've got Mangalore in Victoria, 137 millimetres. That's a record. Data to 1957 at that site. Then you've got Bendigo, 117. They've got data to 1863. So more than 150 years worth of data. And for October, we've never seen that much rain. Swan Hill's another one, 85 millimetres. That's a record, falling over 2 days. This map shows the rain over the past week up to 9 o'clock yesterday morning, so not including the past 24 hours. We can see more than 50 millimetres for much of the southern Murray Basin, central Victoria. The darker blue shows over 100 millimetres, and through northern Tasmania up to 200 millimetres. However, in the past 24 hours, there's been up to another 200 millimetres in northern Tasmania and another 50 through many central parts of Victoria. So we're talking about totals even 3 or even 4 times the monthly average, Ros, falling in a couple of days.
So, Tom, upstream locations have peaked, but there are still dozens of towns waiting for flood peaks downstream.
Yeah, too many to mention all of them actually, Ros. So let's take a look at some of the ones we're watching really closely. In New South Wales, you've got Forbes. So tonight, expecting a peak of 10.6 metres. Their record peak back in the 50s, 10.8 metres. So it's pretty close to a record. You've got Shepparton. Now, that's on the Goulburn River. Upstream, Seymour has had its worst flooding on record. Shepparton should see a peak not till Tuesday, but it should match close to what they saw in 1974, which was the record. And then in Tasmania, Strathbridge, that's along the Meander River, where we have seen record flooding overnight tonight, 9.5 metres. That would be a record. Now, back to the mainland, northern Victoria, inland New South Wales, all rivers eventually flow into the Murray. This is the flow rate along the Murray into South Australia over the past 5 weeks. And look at it shooting up just in the past week. And that's before this current heavy rain and flooding developed. So we're looking at very high levels, probably the highest in at least 6 years, with the Murray River flowing to South Australia, Ros.
So what are we expecting next week, Tom?
Well, that's the main concern. I'm expecting another major rain event to come through next week. So the current rain event, well, here it is. It's clearing off the coast. That's the cloud band responsible for all the rain. It's moved off the east coast, and there's fairly clear skies through the western part of the country. But look what happens as we move through the weekend. We start to get rain developing. This is a developing low. Here's the problem. It's a slow-moving system. So the rain, because it's so slow-moving, lasts for a few days in most areas. By Wednesday, widespread heavy rain and storms has returned to the Murray-Darling Basin, and it looks like this rain will probably last all the way through until about Sunday next week. It's about 4 or 5 days. Now, over the next 8 days alone, 50 to 100 millimetres for much of Queensland, New South Wales, the Murray-Darling Basin, at least 25 for Victoria, and some more good falls for Tasmania. But that's only over the next 8 days. Over the next 10 days, many towns through the Murray-Darling Basin will see closer to about 100 millimetres of rain. What that means is the flood peaks from next week's event could be even higher for many areas that we're seeing right now.